The passengers evacuated using emergency slides. Some of them kissed the ground. Others stood in shock, unable to process what they'd just survived. The drag racers came running over, bringing water, first aid, anything they could offer. Bob Pearson climbed out of the cockpit and stood on the tarmac, looking at the destroyed nose of his aircraft. People were calling him a hero. Passengers were hugging him, thanking him, crying. The media would later dub it the Gimli glider, and Bob's face would be on every news channel in Canada, but Bob wasn't thinking about being a hero. He was thinking about the fuel calculation. The mistake that had put 69 people in danger in the first place. The investigation would later determine that it wasn't his fault, that the ground crew and the airline's new metric conversion procedures were to blame. But Bob had been the captain. The ultimate responsibility was his. That's what captain means. He flew for Air Canada for another 17 years. Retired in 2000. Received commendations, was invited to speak at aviation conferences, was studied in flight schools around the world. The Gimli glider captain, they called him. The man who saved 69 lives, but Bob never saw it that way. His family would later say that he became withdrawn after the incident. That he couldn't watch the news coverage, couldn't look at the photos. That he replayed that flight in his mind every single day. Thinking about what he could have done differently, what he should have checked, how he should have caught the fuel error before takeoff. His wife Martha tried to help him see reason. Bob, you saved everyone. You're a hero. Why can't you accept that? Because they never should have been in danger, he'd reply. A good captain prevents emergencies. He doesn't just respond to them. Martha found him sometimes, late at night, sitting in his study with the flight logs from that day, going over every detail, every decision, looking for the moment where he could have prevented it all. The calculations that weren't his responsibility. The systems that had failed. The series of small mistakes made by other people that had put him in an impossible situation. I should have known, he'd say. Somehow, I should have known. In 2003, 20 years after the incident, Air Canada held a ceremony honoring Bob and Maurice. The passengers who had been on Flight 143 were invited. Many came. They brought their children, their grandchildren. These people exist because of you. One passenger said to Bob. My daughter was born 2 years after Gimli. She has 3 kids now. That's 3 more lives you saved. 3 people who wouldn't exist if you hadn't done what you did. Bob smiled politely. Shook hands. Posed for photos. But Martha could see it in his eyes. He was somewhere else. Back in that cockpit. Back in those 15 minutes when he thought everyone was going to die. Maurice Quintal, his first officer that day, remained Bob's friend until the end. They'd meet for coffee sometimes, and Maurice would try to talk to him about it. We did good that day, Bob. We did everything right. You have to let it go. I can't, Bob would say simply. I see their faces. The children on that plane. I think about what almost happened. What should have happened, according to every law of physics and probability. We got lucky, Maurice. That's all it was. Luck. It wasn't luck. It was skill. It was experience. It was you making 100 perfect decisions in 15 minutes, but Bob never believed it. In his mind, a perfect captain would have prevented the emergency entirely. Would have caught the fuel error. Would have never put his passengers in that situation. The fact that he'd saved them all afterward didn't change the fact that they'd been in danger in the first place.